Hey guys, Eastway here and welcome back to another episode of the FIFA 19 market update series in which I keep you guys up to date with all the patterns and trends to look out for on the market. Right now, of course, we have the Future Stars promo, and that has had a massive impact on the market. In many ways, even bigger than what we saw during Team of the Year in terms of a market crash, especially with certain types of players, and I'm going to be talking all about that throughout this video, looking at meta gold cards, high-end, mid-tier and baby icons, and then also, of course, all of these meta gold inform cards as well. Now, the reason the market crash with this promo has been so big is because no one was expecting it. After Team of the Year, we generally have about 3 weeks until the next promo starts, and that is Winter Ones to watch. But literally, as soon as Team of the Year ended, we had EA promoting a new promo. They said it would start in like 3 or 4 days, and people didn't really think this was going to be that big because we'd already had the biggest promo of the year in Team of the Year. So people weren't really like panicking that much until the day before, which I believe was a Thursday, when EA first posted like a teaser of some of the possible players we could see. And that's when everyone realised that this was actually a massive promo, because we had some insane meta cards, and that caused so much panic, and we've still got that on the market right now. So a lot of cards have dropped down. Some cards have risen up though, because we've got a couple of new icon SBCs. We've got Baresi and Crespo, and we've also got some SBCs for Future Stars players. There's one for Frankie de Jong, and there's also one for Joe Gomez too, and we've got a couple of daily SBCs as well. So we're going to start off down here with the meta gold cards, and you will have seen during Team of the Year the types of prices these cards were at. They haven't been changed that much. Ronaldo's dropped down a little bit. He's down to about he's actually gone below 1.9, so he's dropped actually a fair amount. He's down to like just under 1.9 million, and he was going for like just under 2 million following Team of the Year, but now you can get him for like what, yeah, look at this. Really cheap Ronaldo's. Like, he's going for just over 1.8 million. That's actually very cheap for him. I did not realise he'd fallen that much. So, just over 1.8 million is the current selling price for Ronaldo. And that's about 200k down from what he was at during Team of the Year. So these types of cards here are dropping. There's just a massive crash. Like, we've seen more of a dip in price with these types of cards here than we actually did during Team of the Year. Lionel Messi, I expect, has also dropped down a lot. Yes, he has. He has gone down to below 800k for the first time, I think, even during Team of the Year. I mean, you'd sometimes see one for like 10k under, but he was going for about 800k. And look at this, 749, 740. This is cheaper than Black Friday. 730k for Lionel Messi. That is insanely cheap. And as I said, that's even cheaper than what we saw during Black Friday. And that's been the biggest crash we've had so far this year with these types of gold cards. We've also got Neymar. Now, he was going for, at his lowest, like 515k or so during Team of the Year, but he rose up towards the end when he actually got into packs, and he's now dropped down to like 500k, so he's also very cheap, probably the cheapest he's been this year. Sergio Ramos is also very cheap. He's down at like 210, 220k, which is extremely cheap for him. Even cheaper, look, there's probably ones for like 205k that you can get, so he's insanely cheap. Fabinho is also insanely cheap. He's down like 30k now as well. We've got Virgil van Dijk, who is also massively cheap. He's down at like 120, which is even cheaper than during Team of the Year. Bear in mind, with a lot of these cards, they were of course in Team of the Year, so they didn't get affected that much during that promo, which is why they're now so cheap. You've got Kyle Walker, who is also very low. He's down below 40k, insanely cheap price there. And then we've got icons, and we've seen an insane crash with these, and I really mean that, especially the baby icons. So these high-end ones, I said they would recover slightly following Team of the Year, and they have. Like, Cruyff's gone up a little bit. He hasn't really dropped down that much. Ruud Gullit has actually gone down by a fair amount. He's gone down by like 200k or so, but they haven't plummeted. They haven't plummeted in value. Whereas wait until we see some of the other icons. Vieira, he's kind of retained his price he was at during Team of the Year. But look at this. You've got the mid-tier icons. So Nedved is just an example here. He's down at like 900k, which is the kind of price he was going for during Team of the Year at his low point, but he recovered to over 1 million just after Team of the Year. Stoichkov I got for like 850 during Team of the Year. He's now down to like 900, and he was 1.1 million just a couple of days ago. But look at this for the baby icons. You can get someone like Gattuso now. This isn't a good example. Look at, like, I was looking at Sol Campbell earlier because I was looking to actually pick this card up because it's quite good. And this card is 85 rated, but he's got some really nice stats. But look at the price he's currently going for. Like, I saw a few go for like 500k earlier on today. He is just so cheap. I'm actually going to put a bid on that one right there because I am looking to pick him up for my main team. I used his prime and then I traded that into best, and this one here is quicker. I actually prefer the card, so I'm going to be hopefully getting this card here, but insanely cheap. Like these baby icons, they're down at like 5.15 on like on kind of the average selling price for them for the cheapest icons, which is insanely cheap, and they've not been cheaper this year. That's like about 15 or 20k lower than what they were going at for during Team of the Year, so insanely cheap. And these cards will recover. I guarantee that these icons will recover, so if you're looking to get a specific icon for your team, now is probably the best time to do so. We've also got all these types of cards here which are so cheap, so if you're looking to get them, now is a good time there as well. And then moving up to these informs, some of the higher rated but cheap informs like Szczesny have gone up because of the SBCs currently available. So Szczesny's actually gone up by about 10k from where he was at during Team of the Year. I expect that's because of SBCs. I can't really think of any other logical reason there. Robertson is currently going for about 260, 270k. He rose up a lot when Van Dijk was announced in Team of the Year. I said that would happen before Team of the Year, and it did end up happening right there. Robertson's one of the few really meta cards that hasn't changed in price, especially in these fullback positions, because if you look at Lala, for example, he's gone down by about 20k in the space of a day or so, and that's because we've now got Alexander-Arnold, who has a better card than him. He's a lot quicker, he's more well-rounded, and people who are looking to use the best right back on the game are now selling Lala and they're swapping over to Alexander-Arnold. He has a lot of coins, but he is marginally better, so for people with really elite teams, he's now the go-to option, and you see this with a lot of different players. So for example, Perisic, some of his special cards, same with Douglas Costa, they've dropped down because Kluivert has got a better card than both of them. You've got someone like Mendy now, I think he's called Furlong Mendy, the one who plays for Lyon. He's got an insane card, 94 pace, 4-star skills, really well-rounded, arguably the best left-back on the game, definitely the best French left-back, so we've seen the Champions League version of Mendy drop down in price because of that, for example. You see that with a lot of these players. I've seen Kimpembe's, what's it called, Road to the Final card drop by about 30k. That's because we've now got Upamecano, the French centre-back from the Bundesliga, who's got an amazing card, which has meant that one's dropped down. So we've got a lot of really meta alternative players that have now come in. We've seen Pogba drop down because Guendouzi's now got a card with very similar stats, or even better stats really, and the same league and nation combo. Bailly's dropped down a lot here. He's down by like about 20k from what he was at during the Team of the Year. Hernandez has dropped a ton. I actually picked this guy up to try him out, got him for about 140k, and within about 4 hours he dropped down to being 120k. So he's another one that's dropped down loads. Like these informs have really plummeted generally. We have got Kante, who's actually risen a little bit in price compared to his lowest point during Team of the Year, but he's still dropped down a little bit to what he recovered after Team of the Year, because he went up to near 800k like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of time, and then he gradually dropped down. Hulk, what's he at right now? Like 140-ish, so he's kind of retained his value, not changed too much. Mbappe, he's fairly similar price. He's kind of just retained his value. He did drop down a little bit more during Team of the Year, then he rose up and now he's dropped down a little bit more. I've got Eden Hazard. Let's see what's happened to him. He's up a little bit. He's about 600k. Actually, no, there's really cheap ones. There's one under 600. 580 is very cheap for him. So he has actually dropped down a fair amount compared to what he was at just after Team of the Year. We've got Ben Yedder, who's also down a little bit. He's down at about 100k. He's maybe like 5k down. So not a massive impact on him. A lot of these informs, we haven't seen like crazy fluctuations in their price. It's only in certain cases, basically where you've got like a really meta card who's now been edged out and replaced with someone better. So for example, Lala, you've now got Alexander-Arnold as an option, so he's dropped down in price. It's the same if you look at a lot of different cards, but also we've got players who've risen up loads if they link into some of these new cards. So for example, let's look at Alex Telles. His Road to the Final card has gone up a lot because there's now a centre-back who plays for Porto, who's also Brazilian. I'm not 100% sure on his name, but he has 89 pace and an insane card. So because of him, Alex Telles rose in price because he's the best player really you can use to link into him. He gets a hyperlink and he's got a really good card. So we've seen certain players like that rise up loads and loads in price, certain players that link into these new cards. So that's always something to look out for. Maybe if you have, for example, someone like Telles in your club, now could be a good time to sell him because he has that option of linking into a new player, and that's made him rise in price. So across the board generally, these cards haven't been affected too much. Some of them have dropped down a little bit, some have kind of retained their price, some have even risen in Szczesny's case, for example. The ones that really have taken a big hit in price are ones that have now been edged out and replaced by other players who are now better player from this road to the final squad, or where you've now got a wider variety of options, so people are maybe selling them to try other players out. The ones that have risen have been players that link into some of these new cards and that are important to get that link. So for example, like if you're looking to use maybe Cliver or something like that, for example, from Roma, Roma midfielders and defenders could rise in price, and that type of thing there, especially with people getting these cards as untradables, for example. I think Marcelo rose up quite a lot because he's the best option to link Vinicius Jr. into a team, so that's something we've seen. These gold cards all have dropped down a lot in price. They're all really, really low. Icons, especially the baby and mid-tier ones, especially the baby icons, are incredibly cheap right now, the cheapest they've been this year, and they're at a really good price right now. What I say whenever there's a big market crash like this and players are super cheap is you don't want to be impatient. Like you don't want to just like keep waiting and be overly patient basically, and be like, oh well, he might drop down an extra 5k. So you're looking at Campbell, he might drop down a tiny bit more and you might be able to get him, I don't know, like what, like 490k or something like that, 480, 490k. Yes, he could drop down to that much more, but that's like not that much of a change. It's best to just pull the trigger and get a card when you see them super cheap, because I know that Campbell will recover to like 600k following this promo when the market does recover in the next kind of 2 weeks or so. So I know this is a really good price, so it's best to not just be like overly like petty and just waiting for a card to drop down like a tiny bit more or anything. Just like if you see a card that's at a good price, you don't want to miss the boat with an investment. It's best to just pull the trigger, get them at a good price and make coins on them in the future, or just get a card that you can use at a good price. So if you're looking when to get these cards, I think now is a good time. They may drop down a little bit more, they may rise up a little bit more, but right now we've got a lot of hype with this promo. There's lots of packs being opened, there's lots of packs in the store, and cards are really, really cheap, and I don't see like anything massive changing with this promo. They're not suddenly going to bring out like loads more packs all of a sudden, and since it's still fairly early on, there's still a lot of people selling cards, so I think now is a good time personally to buy players if you're looking to get them. Although obviously that does depend. Like if you're looking to get maybe like Tellez, for example, now he could be at a little bit of a higher price to what he will be at in the future. Also, people like Lala, I think, will recover. These cards that have been phased out by some of the new road to the final cards, I think will actually recover in price, because they are still really, really good and really, really popular players. And once people have maybe tried out some of these new cards, they may end up moving on from them. But if we actually look at this here, I don't know if you can find the full squad of all of these players. I'm not 100% sure if that is an option. Can you see them? I actually don't know if you can, but yeah, what I want to do is actually show you guys like the new, all of the new cards, so I can show you like some of the ones that have now like replaced players that people are popularly using. So for example, if we go here, can we actually change the challenge and go to, no you can't apparently. I think if I back out of Ultimate Team, apologies for this, if I back out of Ultimate Team and then load it back up, it should show the full squad somewhere, and then I can obviously show you guys like the best kind of players that I'm thinking could rise and stuff in price. If you want me to actually do a video on the best investments from this squad, then I can do so, because I think a lot of them do have potential to rise in price because they're so good. But if we look right now at the main squad, you guys can see we've got loads and loads of good players in there. Mendy is now arguably the best left back on the game. Guendouzi is arguably the best midfielder in the Premier League. Arthur is probably the best box-to-box midfielder, apart from Timothy and Modric in La Liga. You've got Jadon Sancho, who's the best right-wing option in the Bundesliga. You've got Aouar, who's the best centre-mid in the Ligue 1. Vinicius Jr. is the best left winger in La Liga. You've got so many really, really good options here. Upamecano is the best French centre-back, probably apart from Timothy Varane. He's the best Bundesliga centre-back. Like there are so many players here who just really, really stand out. Eder Militao, by far the best Brazilian centre-back on the game. Even like out of like icons and all of that, he's the best option there. So there are so many players here that are now really standing out as being insanely meta players that can fit into any team really. So they're types of guys that I think will rise up in price, and they're types of players where other options are now dropping in price. So for example, like you're going to see maybe like Coutinho and those types of players drop down, because now you've got Vinicius Jr., who is the best option in that position in that league. And yeah, that's what I've been talking about here. Same with like, you'll see like Walker drop down because he's now no longer the best right back option in the Premier League, for example. Inform Pereira will drop as well. All that kind of stuff there. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like on it, subscribe if you're on your own here, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.